Welcome to Hike Point of Sale. In this video we'll be talking about how to perform a stock take, or otherwise known as an inventory count, in your Hike store. There are two distinct ways of performing this process in Hike, either by performing a full stock take of all the inventory available within that outlet, or by performing a stock take on specific inventory items within the outlet, which is also known as a partial count. So firstly, we'll go to the inventory count area by selecting the inventory button on the left hand side, and then selecting the count and stock take option. So this will bring a full listing of all the inventory counts that are available within your Hike store. And you can sort by the specific outlets on the top right here, depending on what outlets you have available within your Hike store from there. Now, just before we begin by creating an inventory account, Hike does recommend that your store is closed, as you want to ensure that no stock is sold to customers, so as to avoid any unnecessary discrepancies within your inventory totals, as any sales that are made within items while the count is being completed can affect your inventory totals from there. Now, to create an inventory count, we'll go to the Add New button on the right hand side here and select that, which will bring up the new inventory count screen. Now we're able to select and name the particular inventory count to what we want to have it called. So we'll be calling this a video stock take, and it will be a full inventory count from there. Now you can select the outlet that you want the inventory count to be assigned to, and the count type we'll be assigning for this is an all inventory account. Now from there, you're able to select further options as to how you want the stock to be locked within the store. And this important note explains how this locking system works. What happens from there is that by default, we'll select the counted inventory will be locked until the stock take is finalized. And what this means is that in your Hike store, you will not be able to sell or move any of the stock within the inventory totals until the count has been completed. Now you can unselect this option, but just be aware that your inventory counts can be affected if you sell items while the count is being completed. From there, there's specific options in relation to how you unlock the products from there. So the default option is to only unlock the products in the count when the full stock take count has been completed. Otherwise, there's a secondary option which unlocks the products for selling as soon as the count for that particular product has been completed. There's an additional option to omit items as well that have zero inventory assigned to them. So you can select that if you do know for a fact that the products within your Hike store that have zero inventory are not going to be part of the count from there. So we'll leave the default setting as a counted inventory will be locked until the stock take is finalized, and only unlock the products when the full count has been completed. By clicking continue, this will now create the new inventory count from there. So as you'll see there, the reference has been named as what we've put it to be, and it's a full inventory count for you. Now you can add additional notes in this additional notes area in case someone is working on the stock take currently, but you need to hand over the stock take to be completed by someone else in the future, so you can leave notes for them and save it into the inventory count from there. Now in the inventory count screen itself, we have two main tabs, which are your to be counted items, as well as the counted items from there. So as you'll see here, you have products listed down below, and you're able to find specific products in case you are looking for a particular product that you need to have counted first by using this find search bar at the top. Now in order to count an item and set it to the counted column, what we need to do is to go down to your actual counted option. So you'll see here there's an expected total, which is what Hike currently has as your inventory total. And you can set this actual item to be whatever value you end up counting the product to be. Now if we set the product to be less than what the expected value is, a spoilage or lost notes area will come up where you can actually add a note to state that you are missing items. By clicking continue, this will move the item over to the counted column from here, So by selecting the counted column, we're able to see the product has now been counted from there. You can also see that what the expected value was, as well as what the actual value that we entered into the system to be, and what the difference was. Now, if you make a mistake, you can either edit the amount here still while the count is still impending, and set the value to what you want it to be. Again, if it's lower than the amount, a spoilage or lost notes area will come up, and by clicking continue, it will update the actual amount accordingly and what the difference will be. If you want to move this item completely back to the to be counted option, there's a X button here on the right hand side which you can click, and by doing that, that will remove the item to be counted and move it back to the to be counted area. So from there, if you set the item to be what the expected value will be, it will automatically just move the item across over to the counted area. And you can do that as required for each product within your hike store from there. Now you have additional options in case you want to work on this Stocktake in the future and you can't complete the Stocktake count at the one point in time. So you're able to save the Stocktake. And what this will do is bring you back over to the inventory count screen. And as you'll see here, the Stocktake is marked as pending, which means we can still reopen the Stocktake and work on it in the future as required. Now you have an additional option in order to save and print this particular Stocktake. And by selecting this option, it will bring up a print screen of all the inventory items that are still in the Stocktake that need to be completed still. And it will show you to be counted or if it's been counted from there. Now you can print this out so that you're able to mark down the Stocktake numbers manually. For instance, if you have larger Stocktake items or you're not able to move your device around in order to update the stock at that one point in time, you can write them down on a piece of paper that's been printed for this information and then return back to your device at a later stage and update the stock totals as required. Now the final two options that we have available is either to delete this count. So in case you've made a mistake and you want to remove this count completely, you're able to select this option. Now please note that with deleting this count does permanently remove it from your hike stores, so in case you're not sure if there's been partially counted items already, it's best to leave it as is. And also note that the delete count option is only available while the count is still in pending. So once the status has been completed for a particular count, there's no way of actually deleting the particular count from there, and if you made any mistakes or need to update your stock further, you will simply just need to create a new Stocktake and specifically use the partial count option to create a Stocktake to address those items where you've made a mistake on. Now the last option we have here is to mark the count as completed. Now if you have an existing items that are still in the to be counted area, when you select this mark as complete option, it will come up with some options for you to deal with any items that still haven't been completed in the count. So by default, the option that we have available is to remove the skip items from the count completely. And what this will do is it will just remove all the items and mark it into a skip count column. Now the second option is to mark it as add the value for 0 to all the items that the hike store has skipped. So in case you've only found a few of these items but everything else seems to be missing from the count, you can easily and quickly set it to 0, and that way hike will update all the inventory accordingly from there for any items that are still in the to be counted column. The last option is simply if you've made a mistake, which will allow you just to go back to the screen from there. So what we'll do is we'll mark this as a remove the skipped items from the count list. Selecting continue will now complete the Stocktake from there. So as you'll see now, the status is marked as completed for this particular Stocktake. And if we open it up, you'll see here that the to be counted column, everything has been moved to the skip column from there. So all the previously expected values for the inventory are going to be left as is. And the two items that were counted were marked as counted by the Stocktake from there. Now as you'll note there, the delete the account option is now unavailable for this particular account. In order to adjust your product inventory counts from here, what we'll need to do is to create a separate inventory count called a partial inventory count. And we can do this by simply clicking the Add New button again on the top right side. Now we'll name our new inventory count from there as a partial count, and we'll be using the specific inventory items. So we'll be locking the items as per normal, and now there'll be a search bar at the bottom here where you can select which items you want to add to this inventory count from there. So we can search by a specific name such as active, and that will bring up any products that are available, as well as any product types that match that particular keyword that we're typing in. Now there are additional items that you can search by, such as by product type, supplier, seasons or tags or brands as well. So if you've grouped products in a specific way, you can add them via that grouping. So we'll add an item based on the product type called the active range, and by clicking continue, it's going to create a partial count here now, which has all the items that are assigned to that particular product type from there. Now the main difference between this as a partial count compared to the full count is that there's an additional button on the right here which allows you to add items to this count. So by selecting that button, we can add additional items as required for this count if need be. So we'll go ahead and add an additional item called a spiral book, and we'll select the yellow and green one. So it's going to bring up the product listing details here just to double check that this is the product that you want to add to this count. And by simply selecting the item, we can add and continue from there. And as you'll see there, the product is now added to this particular partial count. So we have a full listing of the details, and you can update the product details as required from there. Now what we'll show us in this next portion will be how to scan barcodes into your particular account and use the barcode scanning option. So you can do that by clicking the scan barcode button here. Now this does assume that you've had your barcode scanner set up previously with your Hike store. So if you do need assistance with connecting your barcode scanner beforehand, please refer to our relevant Hike support article, or contact our Hike support team in order to help you get your barcode scanner connected to your Hike store. Now once you select the scan barcode area, you'll come up with 3 options in terms of how you can scan barcodes in. So the first option is a manual barcode scan. It will scan each individual item, and you have to click OK, and that will add 1 count to that particular product from there. So we've got an example barcode available here which we will scan. So it's going to bring up the item here. By clicking OK, it's going to add that active tank top item over to the counted column from there. So as you'll see now, by going back into the counted area, the product is now added over. So 1 item has been added over. So if we scan the item again for a second time, and once again we click OK, that's going to add a second item to that particular account. Now if we go back and double check that, you can see the count has been updated to 2. So we'll just revert this count change by clicking the X button again so that the item gets moved back here. Now the second option is to use an automatic barcode scanning count option. And what this means is instead of clicking OK, as you scan the barcode, it's automatically going to count an additional product count to that item. So again, if we scan that particular barcode, as you'll see there now, it's done. And if we go to the counted column, you'll see there that the item has been added and 1 item has been added. Now if we go back to the automatic and we'll scan the same barcode again 2 more times. You can see now that in the counted column, the active item has been added to updated to 3 from there. So the automatic option is generally the advised way to go unless there are ticket items that you want to double check the details for beforehand, and you want to use the manual option for that. So we'll clear that out one more time, and then we'll go to scan barcode and show the inventory option from there. So this inventory option will scan each barcode and list them all out in this particular page. Now it does require that your barcode scanner has an inventory mode turned on for it. And now with the inventory barcode scanner option selected, we can scan some barcodes and they should automatically populate into the box from there. So you'll see we've scanned one of the item and it's added the product there. We scan it another 2 more times, it'll add 2 more products there. And by clicking save now, we have 3 of the item on that barcode added to our count. And as we save and we go to the counted area, as you'll see, 3 items have been added to this particular count from there. So we'll remove this out again. And that is basically the barcode scanning options available for the inventory count area. So we'll finally show you how the delete discount option works by deleting this specific account and clicking continue from there. And this will bring us back to the inventory count screen. As you can see there, the previous count has been removed because that was still a pending count. And that concludes our video on the Stocktake process from there. If you do require further assistance, you can always contact our Hike support team by selecting the Need Help button on the top right here, and you can select the Chat with Support option or to submit a ticket from there. Additionally, if you want to find out more information about how the inventory count process works or any other option available within your Hike store, you can simply click this Learn button on the right hand side, which will bring up a list of the support articles, and by selecting that you're able to go into the support articles area, which gives you a full detail of how to perform any of these options from there. Thank you for your time.